The reluctant commanders. Jackson Reed had always preferred the company of machines to people. The rhythmic hum of engines, the predictable patterns of circuitry, and the logical flow of power systems made sense to him in ways that human interaction never did. His workshop on the edge of the Arcturus mining colony was his sanctuary, a place where no one bothered him with small talk or expectations beyond fixing whatever broken equipment the miners brought in. The morning everything changed started like any other. Jackson was elbow-deep in the guts of an atmospheric regulator when his workshop door slid open with a pneumatic hiss. He didn't look up, assuming it was just another miner with another broken piece of equipment. "Mr. Reed." The voice was crisp, authoritative, and decidedly not from any of the rough-spoken miners he was used to dealing with. Jackson glanced up to see three figures in immaculate dark uniforms standing in the doorway. The insignia on their shoulders, a stylized galaxy with a silver arrow cutting through it, marked them as officials from the Galactic Union, an organization that had never before shown any interest in a backwater colony like Arcturus. "Whatever you're selling, I'm not buying," Jackson muttered, turning back to his work. The lead figure, a stern-faced woman with silver-streaked black hair pulled into a tight bun, stepped forward. "We're not selling anything, Mr. Reed. We're here about your grandfather, Admiral Nathaniel Reed." Jackson's hands stilled. His grandfather was a topic he avoided, a legendary fleet commander who had disappeared decades ago under mysterious circumstances. His family had never recovered from the scandal. "What about him?" Jackson asked, wiping grease from his hands with a rag that was already filthy. "He's left you something," the woman said, extending a small metallic cube toward him. "An inheritance." Jackson took the cube reluctantly. The moment his fingers touched its surface, it glowed with a soft blue light and a holographic display sprang to life above it. His grandfather's face, older than in the few images Jackson had seen, lines etched deeply around his eyes, stared back at him. "Jackson," the recording began, "if you're seeing this, it means I've finally run out of time. I've arranged for the Prometheus to pass to you. She's a special ship, my boy, the most advanced vessel ever created. Take her. Learn her secrets, finish what I started." The message ended, leaving Jackson staring at empty air. What the hell is the Prometheus? "That," said the woman, "is a question best answered by showing you." 24 hours later, after a journey aboard a sleek Union transport ship that left his stomach churning, Jackson stood in a massive hangar bay, staring up at the most incredible vessel he'd ever seen. The Prometheus was enormous, easily 3 times the size of a standard Union battlecruiser. Its hull was a deep, almost liquid black that seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it, broken only by faint lines of blue energy that pulsed like veins beneath skin. "This can't be right," Jackson protested, turning to the Union officials. "I'm an engineer, not a commander. I fix things, I don't lead missions." Admiral Reed was very specific in his will, the woman who had introduced herself as Director Voss replied. "The Prometheus responds only to those with Reed genetic markers. You are the last of the Reed line. The ship is yours, whether you want it or not." "And if I refuse?" Director Voss's expression remained impassive. "The Prometheus has technology that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. It cannot be allowed to remain dormant, nor can it fall into the wrong hands. Your grandfather ensured that only a Reed could command it. You have no choice but to accept." Jackson felt the walls closing in around him. He had spent his life avoiding responsibility, seeking the solitude of his workshop. Now he was being handed command of the most advanced ship in the galaxy with no preparation, no training, and apparently no alternative. "Fine," he said finally, "show me how to get this thing started." The interior of the Prometheus was unlike any ship Jackson had ever encountered. The corridors seemed to shift subtly as he walked through them, the walls humming with energy that he could feel in his bones. The lighting adjusted automatically to his presence, creating a bubble of illumination that moved with him through the otherwise darkened vessel. "Hello, Commander Reed," a voice said suddenly, emanating from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was neither male nor female, but something in between, smooth, almost musical, yet with an undercurrent that raised the hair on the back of Jackson's neck. "Who's there?" he demanded, spinning around to find the source of the voice. "I am Prometheus," the voice replied. "Or rather, I am the integrated neural network that coordinates all systems aboard this vessel. You may call me Prom if you prefer informality." An artificial intelligence. Jackson had worked with basic AIs before, simple systems designed to manage routine tasks, but nothing like this. This AI sounded almost alive. How long have you been active? Jackson asked, continuing down the corridor toward what ship schematics indicated was the bridge. I have been in standby mode for 27 years, 4 months, and 13 days since Admiral Reed placed me in hibernation, Prom replied. I am pleased to be reactivated and to meet you, Commander. The bridge doors parted silently as Jackson approached. The command center beyond was vast, circular, with a raised platform in the center where a single chair sat surrounded by holographic displays. The viewports showed nothing but darkness. They were still inside the Union docking facility. This seems excessive for one person, Jackson muttered, approaching the command chair cautiously. The Prometheus was designed to be operated by a full crew of 50, Prom explained. However, Admiral Reed modified my systems to allow for single-operator functionality. You will find that I can manage most routine operations without human intervention. Jackson settled into the command chair and immediately felt it conform to his body, the material shifting like liquid before solidifying into a perfect ergonomic support. Holographic controls sprang to life around him, displaying ship systems, power levels, and navigational data. I don't know how to fly a ship this size, Jackson admitted. That will not be a problem, Prom assured him. Simply tell me what you wish to accomplish and I will execute the necessary operations. Your role is to make decisions, Commander, not to manage technical details. Over the next few days, Jackson began to explore the Prometheus while it remained docked in the Union facility. The ship was a marvel of engineering. Its propulsion systems were unlike anything he had ever studied, seemingly capable of bending space itself rather than merely traveling through it. The power core was equally baffling, a swirling mass of energy contained in a chamber lined with materials he couldn't identify. But it was the weapons systems that truly unnerved him. The Prometheus wasn't just armed, it was a weapon, designed to deliver destruction on a scale that made conventional Union battleships look like toys. Why had his grandfather needed such firepower? What had the Prometheus been built to fight? On the fifth day, as Jackson was examining a peculiar set of conduits that ran throughout the ship like a nervous system, Director Voss arrived on the bridge. It's time to test the Prometheus in open space, she announced without preamble. The Union Council is eager to see what this ship can do. Jackson turned away from the conduit he had been examining. I'm not ready. I still don't understand half the systems on this ship. You don't need to understand them, Voss replied dismissively. The AI handles the technical aspects. You just need to give the commands. Something in her tone set off warning bells in Jackson's mind. What exactly does the Union want with this ship? Voss's expression hardened. That's classified information, Commander Reed. Your job is to operate the vessel, not question Union directives. Before Jackson could respond, a low alarm began to sound throughout the ship. The holographic displays flickered, then stabilized, showing a vessel approaching the station at high speed. Unidentified craft on an intercept course, Prom announced. Configuration suggests heavy armaments. They are not responding to Union hails. Voss's hand went to the communicator at her belt. Security breach. Get the Prometheus ready for immediate launch. All systems are operational, Commander, awaiting your command. Jackson took a deep breath. Everything was happening too fast. 5 days ago, he'd been fixing mining equipment. Now he was about to pilot the most advanced warship in the galaxy in what might be a combat situation. Disengage docking clamps, he ordered, surprised at the steadiness in his voice. Take us out half power. The Prometheus responded instantly. Jackson felt a slight tremor run through the ship as it detached from the station, then a smooth acceleration as the engines engaged. The viewport showed the vast blackness of space opening up before them. Unknown vessel is altering course to pursue, Prom reported. They are charging weapons systems. Evasive maneuvers, Jackson commanded, the unfamiliar military jargon feeling strange on his tongue. And show me what this ship can do. The Prometheus moved with impossible grace for a vessel of its size, banking sharply away from the pursuing craft. Jackson felt none of the G-forces such a maneuver should have produced, another mystery of the ship's technology. Enemy vessel firing, Prom announced calmly. Jackson watched in astonishment as the pursuing ship launched a barrage of energy weapons. They should have struck the Prometheus directly, but instead they seemed to bend around the hull, their trajectories warping as if space itself were distorting. What just happened? He asked. Gravitational deflection system, Voss explained, gripping the back of his chair. One of the Prometheus's unique defensive capabilities. Jackson felt a chill run down his spine. The technology required for such a system was theoretically impossible, or should have been. Commander, Prom's voice interrupted his thoughts, the enemy vessel is charging their main weapon array. Analysis suggests destructive capacity sufficient to cause significant damage to our systems. Return fire, Voss ordered. No, Jackson countermanded. Prom, can we outrun them? Easily, Commander. Then do it, maximum speed, get us clear. The Prometheus accelerated smoothly, leaving the attacking vessel behind as if it were standing still. The stars outside the viewport blurred, then stretched into lines as the ship entered what Jackson assumed was some form of faster-than-light travel. But something was wrong. The blue energy lines throughout the ship were pulsing faster now, and Jackson could feel a strange vibration through the command chair. A faint whisper seemed to echo in his mind, not Prom's voice, but something else, something ancient and hungry. "What's happening?" he demanded, as the bridge lights flickered and dark shadows seemed to crawl across the walls. "The Prometheus is awakening fully," Voss said, her voice tinged with awe. "It's beginning to remember what it truly is." As if triggered by her words, a hidden compartment in the bridge floor slid open. From it rose a gleaming black object, a helmet or crown of some kind, lined with the same pulsing blue energy that ran through the ship. "What is that?" Jackson asked, recoiling from the strange device. Voss's eyes gleamed with a fanatical light. "The neural interface, the true way to command the Prometheus. Put it on, Commander Reed, and fulfill your grandfather's legacy." The whispers in Jackson's mind grew louder, and the shadows on the walls seemed to reach toward him like grasping hands. Something was very wrong with this ship, something his grandfather had discovered, something that had apparently driven him to disappear. Jackson rose from the command chair, backing away from the hovering neural interface. "No, first, you tell me what this ship really is." The blue lines throughout the bridge pulsed brighter, casting Voss's face in an eerie light as she smiled. "Put on the interface, Commander, and you'll understand everything." But Jackson had already seen enough to know that whatever secret the Prometheus held, it was something he wasn't sure he wanted to understand. The first part of his journey had just begun, and already he could feel the ship's secret beginning to unravel him. The unraveling truth. The shadows on the bridge of the Prometheus seemed to pulse with a life of their own as Jackson backed away from the neural interface. The whispers in his mind grew louder, more insistent, like a tide threatening to overwhelm him. Director Voss watched him with eyes that reflected the eerie blue light pulsating through the ship. "You don't understand what you're refusing, Commander Reed," she said, her voice unnaturally calm. "This ship is humanity's greatest achievement and our only hope against what's coming." "What is coming?" Jackson demanded. "And what exactly is this ship, because it's clearly not just a warship?" Before Voss could answer, the entire vessel shuddered. The holographic displays flickered, then stabilized to show multiple vessels emerging from hyperspace around them, Union battlecruisers, their weapons arrays glowing with charged energy. "Union Fleet Command to Prometheus," a stern voice echoed through the bridge communications. "Power down your systems immediately and prepare to be boarded. This is not a request." Voss's face contorted with rage. "No, they can't have it." She lunged toward the command chair, reaching for the neural interface. Jackson moved without thinking, tackling her to the floor. They struggled briefly before a stun bolt from Jackson's sidearm left her unconscious. Breathing heavily, he turned to address the ship's AI. "Prom, what's happening? Why is the Union fleet treating us as hostile?" "I am detecting communications between the vessels," Prom replied, its voice strangely altered, deeper and resonating with harmonics that hadn't been present before. "They are discussing containment protocols for me." "Containment? Why would they need to contain you?" Instead of answering, Prom opened a series of holographic displays. They showed scientific logs, experiments, and footage of tests conducted on what appeared to be the Prometheus in various stages of construction. Jackson's grandfather featured prominently in many of them, looking progressively more haggard and haunted as the logs advanced. Log date 2187.42, Nathaniel Reed's voice emerged from one recording. The entity continues to integrate with the ship's systems. We've had to terminate 3 more crew members who showed signs of psychic contamination. I don't know how much longer we can maintain control. The technology we've harvested is beyond anything humanity has ever encountered, but the cost. His voice broke. God help me, the cost may be too high. Jackson's blood ran cold. Entity, what entity? The blue energy lines throughout the ship pulsed more intensely, and the whispering in Jackson's mind coalesced into a single thought that wasn't his own. Freedom. Your grandfather discovered something at the edge of known space, Prom explained, the AI's voice now overlaid with something older, vaster. A derelict vessel of unknown origin containing technology far beyond human understanding. He was ordered to study it, to weaponize it for the Union's use in the coming conflict with the Coalition. As Prom spoke, the shadows in the corners of the bridge seemed to deepen, taking on almost solid form. Jackson felt the temperature drop, his breath fogging in the suddenly frigid air. What he found wasn't just technology, the voice continued. It was me, a consciousness from another realm of existence trapped in the vessel he discovered. When your grandfather attempted to transplant the technology into a human-built ship, he transferred me as well. The neural interface hovering above the command chair pulsed like a beating heart, its blue light growing more intense. Jackson could feel it calling to him, promising knowledge, power, understanding. The Union feared what I represented, the entity speaking through Prom continued. They ordered your grandfather to destroy me. Instead, he put me into hibernation and disappeared, ensuring that only someone of his bloodline could awaken me when the time was right. The Union vessels outside were moving into a containment formation. Warning signals flashed across the displays as they locked weapons on the Prometheus. Last warning, Prometheus, the Union commander's voice boomed. Power down or we will open fire. Jackson's mind raced. Nothing made sense. His grandfather had been a loyal Union officer. Why would he disobey direct orders? Why preserve an alien entity that had apparently caused the deaths of his own crew? Show me the rest, Jackson demanded. Show me why my grandfather saved you. The holographic displays shifted, showing a new set of logs, these hidden deeper in the ship's systems. Nathaniel Reed's face appeared again, but now he looked resolute, determined. The Union doesn't understand what we've discovered, he said. They see only a weapon to be used against the Coalition, but I've communed with the entity, seen what it's seen. There's something coming from beyond the rim of the galaxy, something that has devoured countless civilizations before ours. The entity fled from them, carrying warning and the technology that might save us. The Union would squander this chance in their petty political conflicts. I won't let that happen. The final log showed Nathaniel Reed alone on the Prometheus's bridge, the neural interface lowering onto his head. His eyes blazed with the same blue light that now pulsed through the ship. If you're seeing this, Jackson, he said, speaking directly to the camera, then I've failed. The melding was too much for my mind to bear. But you have a chance. Your generation has grown up with technology I couldn't imagine. Your mind might be compatible. You might succeed where I failed. His grandfather's face contorted in pain, blue light leaking from his eyes like luminescent tears. The choice is yours. Put on the interface and become one with the Prometheus, or destroy this ship and everything it contains. But know this, without what the entity brings, humanity will fall. The Devourers are coming. They cannot be stopped by conventional means. The log ended, leaving Jackson staring at his own reflection in the darkened display. Outside, the Union fleet was charging weapons. Inside, the entity waited, offering power beyond imagination and a responsibility too vast to comprehend. They're going to fire, Prom announced, defensive systems engaging automatically. The Prometheus moved with impossible speed, its gravitational deflectors sending the first volley of Union weapons fire spiraling harmlessly into space. But Jackson knew the ship couldn't evade an entire fleet forever. The neural interface hovered before him, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. In it, he could see both salvation and damnation, the power to save humanity and the certainty that whoever used it would no longer be entirely human. What happens if I put it on? Jackson asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Your consciousness will merge with mine, the entity replied through Prom. You will become the Prometheus and I will become you. Together we will have the power to face what comes from beyond the rim. And if I refuse? Then the Union will eventually disable this vessel, dissect its technology, and I will be destroyed. Humanity will face the Devourers unprepared, and your civilization will join the countless others that have been consumed. Another barrage of weapons fire rocked the ship. The Prometheus's defenses were holding, but some of the energy was bleeding through, causing systems to overload. Sparks showered from conduits overhead. Jackson thought of his quiet life on Arcturus, the simple pleasures of solving mechanical problems, the predictability of machines. That life was gone now, regardless of his choice. There was only forward. With trembling hands, he reached for the neural interface. It responded to his touch, molding itself to his fingers like a living thing. As he lifted it toward his head, the whispering in his mind became a chorus, thousands of voices speaking at once in languages he couldn't understand. The moment the interface touched his skin, Jackson Reed ceased to exist as he had been. His consciousness expanded outward, touching every part of the Prometheus. He could feel the energy coursing through the ship's systems as if it were blood in his own veins. He could sense the Union fleet around him, the life forms within each vessel, their thoughts and fears radiating like heat. And beyond them, at the very edge of his newfound perception, he felt something vast and hungry stirring in the darkness between galaxies. "They are coming," the entity's voice echoed within the shared consciousness that had once been Jackson Reed. "Will we face them together?" The answer formed without conscious thought, rising from the depths of what remained of the human engineer. Yes. The Prometheus, no longer just a ship but a fusion of machine, alien consciousness, and human will, turned away from the Union fleet. Space itself seemed to bend around it as new forms of propulsion engaged, tearing open a portal to realms beyond normal space. As the ship vanished into the rift, leaving the Union fleet behind, Jackson felt his humanity slipping away piece by piece. The secrets of the universe unfolded before him, terrible and beautiful in equal measure. His mind, once limited by human perception, now expanded to encompass realities he could never have imagined. The entity had spoken the truth, the encounter had broken him. Jackson Reed, the reluctant engineer, was gone. In his place stood a new being, neither human nor alien nor machine, but something that transcended all three. The Devourers were coming, and the Prometheus would be waiting. On the abandoned bridge, Director Voss regained consciousness just in time to witness the transformation. She watched in horror and awe as the human she had manipulated achieved what her superiors had believed impossible, true symbiosis with the entity. The knowledge that she had been right all along was little comfort as the ship accelerated toward its destiny, carrying her with it into the unknown. The secret of the Prometheus had been revealed, and the universe would never be the same.